Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for our yoga and hydration flow. We have an awesome lineup this afternoon for you, and we're going to kick it off with hydration. We have a special guest, Amy Chadwick, with us today. Amy has a rich history in wellness with a 20-year background in nursing, including an emphasis on women's health, employee wellness, behavior and mental health, and cardiovascular care. She's also been a health coach for over 7 years, specializing in weight loss, stress management, behavior change, and gut brain health. But that's not where it stops. You think that would be kind of where it ends? No, she's the full meal deal and has been a personal trainer dating back to her college days and focuses on core stability, functional training, and triathlon training. Amy is also the founder of My Wellness RN, where she ties her rich background together, offering clients solutions for a healthier life. Amy, wow, what a background you have. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to this fun conversation. It's actually helped me revitalize my health coaching spirit. I have to say, COVID has kind of put things on pause. So I was very excited to participate in this conversation and do a bunch of research. So thanks for giving me that opportunity.
Oh, you bet. We're always grateful to have you anytime we can. So someone with your background, it's just wonderful that you're willing to share your knowledge. So let's dive right into it. So let's see, we've all been told that we need to stay hydrated, right? Oh, drink your water, stay hydrated. It's hot outside, drink that water. But why is that? Why is hydration so important for each and every one of us?
Well, Nicole, the quick and dirty is it keeps us alive.
That's about
I mean, you would think there's some long, drawn out explanation, but honestly, I mean, hydration is life. If we don't have adequate hydration, we are not living our best lives. And that's truly what we're here to do. So, if you look at the definition of hydration, it's pretty basic. It's just basically the process of causing something to absorb water, right? So in this case, it's us absorbing that water. And so what it does from there is it starts to help regulate our cellular function. It goes and helps with getting rid of excrements and toxins. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I kind of wanted to go through different systems of the body and actually what it does in each of those systems. But basically, hydration keeps us alive. It keeps us cognitively clear. It keeps us functioning, and honestly, it keeps our moods happy. So it's quite important when you get down to it.
I like that first point, that it keeps us alive. So there we have it, folks. Hydration keeps us alive. Therefore, we should stay hydrated.
I don't know how many people can make it out in the Sahara Desert for more than a few days without the water. So, I mean, there's the Badwater Ultra running race out there, but I still see them drinking water, I'm pretty sure. So,
awesome. So you mentioned you were going to get into the different organ systems and how hydration affects those. Do you want to go ahead and educate us a little bit on that?
Sure. We'll start with the top down. So basically, our brain is made of around 73% of water. Our body in general, like people like to say, oh, we're 65% water. Technically speaking, that really looks like fluids. Fluids is a more appropriate term versus water because it's comprised of blood and plasma and sweat and urine, anything that's liquid. But our brains really, besides fat, are comprised of water. Without proper hydration, you think of your poor little brain like a grape. And without that proper hydration, all of a sudden it's going to start looking like a raisin. And that isn't going to bode well for you, especially if you're trying to do things like put together a new bicycle or actually give a presentation where you're trying to remember things online. So it's really important to keep hydrated so that your brain can work optimally. You don't get that brain fog. Your mood is actually regulated. you know, things like concentration. You know, a lot of times when we're working with the elderly in my nursing career, the first thing I tell my patients is like, well, when's the last time you've had a glass of water? When they're complaining, I'm losing my mind. It's just like, well, oh yeah, that was, 6 o'clock this morning. And how much water have you had? Oh, 8 ounces for your whole day. That might be a problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's super
So
interesting.
that's one of the first things that, as a nurse, you kind of check in with your patients. And then secondly, I always go to blood sugar. But truly, hydration is like the fastest, easiest thing that you can have a better outcome out of.
That's
So,
fantastic. And that's good
yeah,
for everyone because water's pretty easy to get around here.
it is. Oh my gosh, especially in Oregon. Now, California, we might have to a little different. But yeah, Oregon, I mean, shoot, you can go outside and open your mouth and probably get some from the air. So, so then the second most important system really is your circulatory system or your cardiovascular system. You're looking at your heart and your lungs. So same thing, heart muscle and lungs are really high. I mean, they can be anywhere from 70 to 80% of water. And again, if it's just basic science, if you're thinking about it, if your lungs are not hydrated, they're not giving proper oxygen exchange. Well, what do you think that's going to cause? Well, anybody with asthma, you could actually have more issues with your asthma or COPD flares because your lungs are not hydrated and giving that lovely oxygen exchange that happens. If we look at the heart, it's even more important. So people who are dehydrated, and right now I'm a heart failure nurse, so people who are dehydrated, when their pulses are starting to go up into the 90, 100 range, and their blood pressures are down into the 90 over 50 range. And normal is, we want people around like 110 over 70, 120 over 80, somewhere in there. The first thing I think of is dehydration. That heart has to work so much harder to get the oxygen, which is transported through fluid, which is water, in the body. And oh my gosh, all of a sudden your heart rate starts increasing. That over time is a lot of pressure in your system. We do not want heart rates above, ultimately, kind of, we want them under 90, but I mean, of course, we've seen them up into the 120s, 150s, because of dehydration. And blood pressure, same thing with my patients. The first thing I ask them, if they're in the 90s over 50s, hey, when's the last time you've had a glass of water? You can automatically, I mean, you really can affect blood pressure when it's low quite fast, giving a person a glass or two of water. So really important for the heart and lungs. If we move into the bowels or intestines, if you're, it's like, if you're trying to move mud, you probably want to hydrate it so it moves a little bit easier if you're shoveling it versus hard packed dirt. And trying to think of a good analogy for poop, but if you do not have fluid in your intestines, your poop becomes like hard, dried mud. You cannot move it very well. Water pulls into the intestines. It helps fiber actually kind of expand and become more jelly-like. So that's what we actually want fiber in our body to do, is become more jelly-like, and that helps actually kind of slide things along. So if you're constipated, really asking yourself, how much water am I getting per day? And if you're, under 8 cups a day, that's probably too little. It could definitely be contributing to constipation. And just because I'm a personal trainer, I like to talk about, uh, peak performance. If you're not hydrated, your peak performance in your athletic event is absolutely going to slide. Your heart rate's going to beat faster, your blood pressure's lower. It will absolutely decrease your performance. So making sure that you hydrate actually before your event, as well as small amounts during your event, is really important. So and those are just, those are just the start of just your body systems. I mean, like I said before, it really does help push excrement and toxins out of the body. It's kind of that lovely reset button that you get to give yourself, besides sleep, of course, but it does help you reset your system. So pretty important stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah. The last one.
Thought about the heart. Like, I would have never ever thought about the heart or the lungs, because who thinks about getting water in their lungs, right?
I know. The funny thing is that's actually, a lot of the time, if you're breathing faster, you're actually you could get dehydrated faster, because when you breathe out, not only it's carbon dioxide, but there's water that comes out of that. So, sweat is obvious. You can actually see it, but breathing faster, and this is where, the heart rate, I mean, it definitely can spiral very fast. When the heart rate's up, it's causing your body to have to breathe faster to get the blood going, to get more oxygen. You need more oxygen, but at the same time, you're breathing out more, so therefore it can dehydrate you faster.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the last one,
you have more.
Oh, I do.
And there's more.
I do have more. I almost forgot the biggest organ in our body, of course, which is our skin, right? And we forget this. Our skin is super important. It is our first line of defense. People actually don't take into consideration what a huge job it does protecting us and honestly keeping fluid in us. Could you imagine walking around without skin? So, one of the easiest ways to keep infections out is hydrated skin. And so things that are what are called humectants, which actually kind of draw water in and hold it there. And actually you can draw water in, or you can draw water from an outside source. Those humectants are the things that cause our skin to be nice and plump. And, if you get a scratch, you may not actually bleed as much, or it may not cut down into kind of a more detrimental area of the skin if your skin is hydrated. And, I love, because we're talking New Earth, I love the NutriBeautiful lotion, because it does have humectants in it. It actually hydrates your skin. It has aloe, which is a huge humectant, and the algae, which I can never pronounce. You want to take a stab at that algae name?
Just call it AFA, organic.
Okay, AFA. So the algae has amino acids, which actually draw in moisture to the body and, again, keep that skin beautifully hydrated. And I love it. I can absolutely tell a difference when I use that stuff. So, not all moisturizers are created equal. A lot of them, you do need to check your products, because a lot of them actually have stuff like alcohol or parabens, anything that can actually cause harm over time, possibly to the skin, and dehydrate it. So you do need to do a little bit of research before buying kind of your moisturizing products.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, simply put, like you stated in the beginning, water keeps us alive, because it sounds like it influences almost every organ, system, everything that our body's doing. It requires an adequate amount of water. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Perfect.
It does. Now, we do have to address the opposite. It wouldn't be a proper conversation about hydration and water if you didn't actually address the opposite, which is too much water.
Mm.
Right. So, and I think it kind of ties into our next question, which is like, well, how much water is enough water, right?
Right.
Um, and so there is such a thing as too much fluid or too much water for a person. Now each person, the, the conundrum is each person is very different, and you know, my need is completely different than your need, depending on what I'm doing for the day, depending on, you know, if I had a baby, my baby's need is totally different than my need because they're made of so much more fluid than, you know, myself. But if, you know, if you're pounding like gallons of water at a time, because some people do take it to the extreme, you actually dilute your electrolytes. And those are things like sodium, potassium, magnesium, those types of things that actually do keep us alive as well. Um, and so you can go into hyponatremia, which is low salt, in the actual fluid in the interstitial tissue, that could be a problem and cause things like seizure and complete fatigue and confusion. So, you know, there is such a thing as getting too much in. Now, if you're looking at what is kind of your average requirement for our heart, I mean, our heart patients, a lot of them are older, right? And so we really try to emphasize at least 8 cups is 64 ounces. Now, if you look at a young, healthy adult who's active, that need probably goes up. You know, sometimes it's really difficult, unfortunately, for the older generations to get it in because they have a hard time ambulating to the bathroom to pee. They just, you know, it's really challenging for their bodies. So at least getting, you know, 64 ounces in is a good start. For some people, such as myself, why don't I talk about me right now? I have this lovely thing called hyperhidrosis, where the thought of exercise makes me start sweating. Um, I mean, I literally drop, I don't know, at least a cup of water within, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. Like my body gets rid of fluid like nobody's business.
Wow.
So I have to be extremely careful when I'm out doing, especially outdoors, like cycling. I'm a big cyclist and I love hiking. So not only do I have to hydrate with water, but because I sweat so much, I really have to be careful of electrolytes. So water usually, you know, and electrolytes kind of go together with sweat. So that's your potassium and sodium. So, you know, for me, it makes sense to kind of get more of a hydration kind of ish drink, such as like coconut water to help with those electrolytes. And we'll get into that in a second. But ultimately, you know, most people, men need more than women, usually anywhere from like 11 cups. So 80-ish ounces. Women probably like around 70, 75. And that's, you know, that's a fair guess. I mean, there's so many studies out there, but the interesting thing is none of them have made actually a definitive conclusion. It's all theoretical. So, you know, it kind of actually depends on what your body's telling you you need, and we can talk about that. I don't. Which one would you like to dive into first?
Yeah, actually, let's go into that since we're on the subject. So we know, you know, you kind of said, you know, between what you around 70 ounces for a woman, 80 for a man. I was just, when you're saying that, I was looking at my hydro flask because I know a lot of people have these things. So
Yeah.
this is 32. So for me, well, depending on my needs, maybe a couple of those a day. But I'm
Yeah.
not quite like you. I lose water, but not quite like you. Quite a bit though.
Yeah.
Um,
It's nuts.
but yeah, because let's dive into our Oh my gosh, if I could think, it'd be wonderful. Um,
So we were talking about like the necessity or need of it, and then how much.
yeah, let's dive into some avenues to stay hydrated, because there's a lot of people who there's a lot of less than healthy beverage options out there today.
You
We'll just
think?
put it that way, like many. And I know, some people are like, well, I like my soda, or like my husband, like he'll drink a whole pot of coffee in a day and be like, I'm hydrating. And I'm like, well, I don't think you are, but we'll check that theory today.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
So what are some tips to stay hydrated? What are some good beverages to have? If someone just doesn't want to drink plain old water, maybe that's boring. Maybe they're trying to be better at
Yeah.
hydration. What are a few ideas you have for them to?
Well, what are some of your favorite fruits and vegetables, Nicole?
I really like right now. I really like oranges.
Okay.
Oranges are probably my favorite right now. But I
Yeah.
like them all.
So it's really interesting. Yeah, everybody thinks you have to get water in for hydration. Yes, I mean at the top of the food chain, water is the best way to get hydrated. But there are a ton of people who just don't care for it. So things that you can do. So we used to do these health screenings, okay? And the like excitement of the day was when the cafeteria would bring in what we called spa water, and it made my day go by so much better because they would bring in this beautiful like giant container of water filled with and they'd change it up. It was so exciting to see the different fruits they put in it. So one day it might be oranges and lemons, and the next day it was like watermelons and strawberries. The next day it was mint and cucumber. So I mean, it was so tasty. It just was refreshing and amazing. So you could do something like a spa water, but if you really like to eat fruits and vegetables, you can get a ton of fluid from them. Like cucumbers are 90, what I write down here. I know I knew it was like a lot, but it's like 97% of water. Or I think they're even higher. I think it was like 99% water. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah, 97%. Iceberg lettuce, 95%. Different types of lettuce, I think there was like romaine, iceberg, even kale. Kale's like 95% water. If you like fruit, if vegetables, just kind of aren't your thing, you can go for a watermelon. I mean, look at the name. It says it right there. Watermelon is like 91%. Strawberries are 90%. Oranges, what you're enjoying right now, they're in the 80s. So those things, they have a ton of fluid in them. So if you would like to eat your water, you can have some of those things. Again, it doesn't replace it. So if you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, maybe you only need 64 ounces and not 90 ounces or whatever you need for the day. So that's one way, to get it in. Infusing your water is fabulous. Drinking tea is fabulous. Coffee. So actually coffee, they've done more and more studies because everybody used to think it would make you extremely dehydrated. Now, some people, it really does have a diuretic effect, meaning that it pulls water from your system and you excrete it. But if you keep your caffeine milligrams to about 400 milligrams a day, an average, average cup is about, I don't want to choke, 120 milligrams to 200.
Uh-huh.
So if you're able to drink 1 to 2 cups a day, then you're probably fine. Somebody's drinking a whole pot of coffee because guess what? I have a ton of farmers and that older generation, like they'll drink a whole pot of coffee instead of water. You are getting some water, but when it becomes more than that 400 milligrams of caffeine, then you're kind of looking at that diuretic effect kicking in. So you do need to substitute. I always tell the people who are doing that, you do need to substitute out at least 1 to 2 cups of water in there. You got to have some water in there as well. As far as, oh gosh, coconut water is good for more the electrolytes. There is sugar in there. And let's get into like sports drinks. I love when my patients talk about, well, I drink Gatorade. And, you know, Gatorade has done such an amazing marketing job saying that it has electrolytes when actually it has a ton of sugar and salt, which are dehydrating. Because guess what? Water follows sugar and water follows salts, and your body wants to get rid of excess salt and water, salt and sugar, because it's kind of inflammatory. And then you pee it out. So it actually dehydrates you. A ton of sports drinks have too much sugar, too much salt in them, and it can dehydrate you if that's the only thing you're drinking all day. If you're out exercising and you need to get some electrolytes in because it's been over an hour and you're sweating profusely, you know, something like coconut water, the more natural it is, the easier it is going to be on your system to digest. So, you know, tips for actually getting it in. So like waking up first thing in the morning, drink a glass of water, you know, go slow. You don't have to chug it all at once. Some people get a little nauseous with that. Before a meal or after a meal, if that's something that triggers you to get that water in. I have people setting timers. I mean, you know, on all the health apps nowadays, there are little areas in which you can document your water. You can have competition. Again, you don't want to do too much. A gallon is plenty. People don't really need more than a gallon unless they're doing the Badwater ultra running marathon, but then they actually do need salt as well. But you know, you can make it fun with other people, just like anything, just like working out, hold each other accountable. So those are some easy kind of like tips and tricks to get it in. But ultimately, just kind of, if you can flavor it with natural things like fruit or mints, herbs, lemon is really great. It actually produces more saliva in your mouth. So if you have dry mouth, you know, definitely using a little bit of water or lemon in your water helps with that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about lemon. So I love that you said you can eat your water. I mean, we should all be eating fruits and vegetables every day anyway, so that's like a double bonus now that you know that you can eat your water. And then the spa water. Oh, I love that. I feel like I should go get a jar and like throw some fruits in it and get kind of fancy.
We've been growing mint, so we'll take chunks of mint and then ginger, and then you infuse it. So you put hot water in like a big old mason jar with a mint and ginger and just let it sit and get cold, and then throw it in the refrigerator in really hot days. It's so refreshing.
Oh, that's kind of like homemade sun tea almost. I've been getting
yeah, it is kind of like a tea.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
there's lots of options to fancy up your water beverages.
Exactly.
Stay away from the sports drinks.
The sports drinks and juice. Juice is another one, just high levels of sugar. If you really like juice, then I recommend only using about 4 ounces, and then maybe using something like, you know, a non-sugar bubbly water like Pellegrino or, you know, one of those. And then, you know, then you're it at least tastes, and a 1/4 cup of juice is usually around, I don't know, like 15 to 18 grams of sugar. So it's not as bad where like a whole cup of juice, I mean, you're pushing like 32, you know, I know my math's off there. 32 to 40. I'm thinking of a soda. Soda's like 44, anywhere from 40 to 44 grams of sugar in 12 ounces. So I mean, that's like your, you know, whole day plus some basically of sugars in one can. So
So your body's going to try and push that out real fast.
Real fast. Doesn't like it, and it's going to drag water with it, and it's going to leave you feeling more thirsty, and it could actually dehydrate you.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm thinking actually we haven't really touched on the opposite of hydration, which is dehydration.
Let's
And
talk
like
about those signs.
yeah, so
Okay.
recognizing like signs and symptoms, right?
Yeah.
So if we listen to our bodies, we have natural intuition. Our bodies do talk to us. You have to listen to what it's saying. But the first sign is you're thirsty. Your body will tell you, I am thirsty. And so basically, you know, if you feel that in the form of possibly dry mouth or fatigue or just, you know, not feeling as clear, like I said, with some of my sweet patients, you know, the confusion sets in. You know, for no good reason, you might be starting to actually get dehydrated. If you push past that feeling and now you're ultra thirsty, you have reached a level that we don't want people at, which is dehydration. So when you're feeling ultra thirsty, when you notice all of a sudden your urine has turned maybe from like a straw color, gold color. Now we're looking at like kind of a cola color or really dark, and it honestly, it's gross, but it kind of stinks. Those are kind of your those are not first, those are down the road big signs of dehydration that you need to pay attention to. You need to do something right away. There's other things like if you're young, this works. As we age, the collagen in our skin doesn't bounce back as often as it should. So if you're young, what you can do is called tenting. You can actually pinch the skin on the back of your hand, and if it doesn't drop really fast, if it doesn't snap back and it kind of tense, that's another sign that you could be dehydrated as well.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So those are just, again, those are some of very obvious signs and some not so obvious signs. Again, the confusion and fatigue are there. They could be a lot of things, but the easiest thing is just try and hydrate a little bit and see if they go away. Headaches, another one. You know, a lot of people get headaches. They think it's like migraine or sinus, and it's just like, well, you've only had like 2 glasses of water today, and you went walking, you know, earlier this morning. You probably are dehydrated. So try to get some fluids in.
Okay. So, so we know the signs, right? We know the early signs. You just mentioned them. Then we know the later signs. Any tips for not getting dehydrated in the first place?
Well, that comes back to, yeah, so that comes back to, again, really trying first thing in the morning. The easiest thing is first thing in the morning is getting that big old glass of water in, probably I would say between 12 and 16 ounces before you do anything. Just, you know, at this point, and thank God we have decent water in Bend, but if not, I would fill maybe a glass and put it next to your sink, even before you brush your teeth, and just try and get it down. So that's really great. It kind of starts the flushing process and hydration process. And then, you know, again, with breakfast, have another one. You know, and my friend used to, every time she'd go use the restroom, that would be her clue to drink a glass of water. I mean, if you're going to the bathroom on the hour, you know, that might be a little much. And honestly, if you're drinking a glass of water on the hour, you're going to go to the bathroom more. So you do kind of have to regulate it slightly if that's the case. So that's what I would recommend, is just, you know, kind of time it out in your day. Be intentional with your fluid intake. You know, I forgot when we were talking about sports drinks and Gatorade, we can't not discuss alcohol.
Oh, there's that too,
Oh my
right?
gosh. You know, being like second microbrew capital of the world here in Bend, Oregon. So alcohol is extremely dehydrating. And when you wake up in the morning and have a hangover, it's not because of the alcohol, it's because you're literally that dehydrated.
Oh,
It basically the water, same thing. It follows, basically higher level molecules. So it goes out with alcohol. The alcohol is a diuretic and makes you pee more. So, it is important if you are drinking, and especially with friends, making sure that you get a glass of water in between a drink. Okay, so if you're planning on having 3 drinks, which again, not everybody should, but I would have 1 drink water, 1 drink water, and then definitely just drink water the rest of the night. So it's really dehydrating. That's why you have a massive headache and feel like basically poisoned the next day, because you are.
because you just poisoned your body.
You just poisoned your body. So, minimal, 1 glass of wine, that's fine. 1 beer, that's fine. 1 drink, that's fine. But realize there still is a diuretic effect that can dehydrate you. So you need to compensate for that.
I'm glad you brought that up because, COVID regulations are being lifted, thank goodness. And people are out and about. It's summer, I'm sure there's going to be some celebrating and some gatherings. And
Absolutely.
so that's good to know. Well, I think we pushed a little bit longer, but you had some great information today. I have to hop on with our next guest, Jill Nelson, and talk about yoga because yoga and hydration go wonderfully together.
They do.
Amy, thanks so much for joining us and educating us on how to stay alive with hydration. Maybe a little more than that too. But we'll move right along and go ahead and get Jill patched in. Thank you, Amy.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, thanks for hanging in there. I have found Jill. She's joined us, and I'm so excited she's here with us today. Jill has been practicing yoga for over 15 years and teaching for 10. She and her husband, Josh, co-founded Asana Yoga and Soul here in Klamath Falls back in 2011 and have expanded to online classes, workshops, and courses. Jill's life purpose expands beyond the practice of yoga, though. She brings more healing, love, and light to all souls who meet along this life path. What an amazing purpose. She's also a wellness educator, a Reiki master, an Ayurvedic coach and training. That's a whole lot of wellness knowledge in one package. Jill, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you guys.
We're so grateful to have you, and it's just so nice to have a local, I'm going to call you yoga guru with us. So it's a treat for us. Let's just dive right into it. So we're celebrating, yoga and hydration. We just finished up our hydration part. So on to yoga. I understand that yoga comes with a variety of benefits. So as a yoga instructor, what benefits do you typically see people experience the most?
Sure. So, when someone comes to a yoga class, I always ask, what's your intention? What's your purpose? What are you hoping to gain out of the class? And more often than not, I see people answering with I want to be more flexible, or I want to have better balance, or my doctor told me to come, or things like that. But what happens so many times is that people come to the class and then they leave the class being like, whoa, 1, that was really hard. Because yoga is not easy, okay? And 2, they leave I had no idea how relaxed I would be. And so it's not just like this, I'm just going to do a little stretch here and a little balance there and be bored out of my mind what time is. It's no matter how slow the class is, you're going to feel benefit out of it. Or even if you're not able to do the whole practice, you're going to feel benefits from it because your body is moving with your breath. And that's where the difference of yoga and Pilates or yoga and whatever other form of calisthenics is, because yoga combines movement with breath. And breath is life force, right? Like we have to have breath to live. And so if we're stressed, we're breathing usually about 30% of our lung capacity up here. And then as soon as we start to learn how to breathe again, right, because we've forgotten because of stress and whatever else is happening, then yoga teaches us how to breathe slower and deeper and combine that with our movements. And then when we're focusing on our breath and focusing on how we're breathing with the slow inhale here, exhale here, right, those slow movements, then we're not in our heads. And we're not in the stress of the day, and we're not worried about what's happening for dinner or what I said to someone else and I should have said, or what someone said to me, or whatever, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. Like when you start the class, it's all there. But then when you start to get into the class, it's like, so I feel like that's probably one of the biggest benefits is just recognizing how we can control how we feel and how we don't have to let our emotions control us. And so and then, yeah, you get like, because if you're stressed, you're holding it here. So then not only are you holding it physically and mentally, whatever you're thinking about, then the yoga practice goes, right? We learn how to lengthen the muscles out and strengthen the muscles because, you know, if you're rounding a lot, if you're at the computer a lot or gardening or whatever, then the yoga helps open us up, right? And then we can breathe bigger. We can slow down our breath, right? So there's all these kind of like multifaceted aspects on how it all interworks together.
I love that. Yeah. You made me feel like I need to go practice right now. And you're like, it helps you breathe and it just relieves the stress. I felt myself like take this deep breath, like, oh, I need that.
Yeah. But even before our interview, I just took a moment to sit down in my chair before I even turned on the screen, you know, like, okay, let me take a few. It was just like 3 deep breaths. Just 3 will immediately change, you know, how you're feeling.
What a great reminder to breathe, because Lord knows we all need to kind of relieve some stress and just breathe every day. I love that. So, you know, you mentioned, strength and flexibility, but that's not all. But can you talk a little bit more about the structural aspect of yoga and how it does benefit both strength and flexibility?
Sure. Yeah. So when you're like, maybe sitting in a chair a lot and your psoas, your hip flexors get really tight, right? That then prohibits how you stand even, right? Or as women, we a lot of times will let the lower belly relax forward and the booty stick out, you know, because you're just kind of relaxing in the body. And with time, like if there's runners even, so it's not so much like you have to be like a person who's, you know, just sitting at a desk, not doing very much. Like even a runner will experience tightness in their IT bands. That's like a huge one for runners, right? Like all sorts of like ankle injury and stuff. And so then when we're focusing, let's say standing postures, you're using those minute muscles in your feet that you normally wouldn't use, that then help stabilize and actually help prevent injury from rolling your ankle. Or especially if you're someone who is like, I'm prone to roll ankles. Well, you're not necessarily prone. It's just that those muscles, those tendons, those ligaments aren't being cared for in the right way, maybe. Or someone who has had surgery. My father-in-law had complete knee replacements in both knees, and the doctor's like, you'll never be able to bend your knees again. Obviously, this does not apply to everyone, right? But he practiced all the time, and those ligaments moved, supported, and he can bend his knees all the way back, just like a normal person can. So it doesn't have to be, you know, a certain type of person. I have a 93-year-old student that I teach private lessons to, and we just do chair yoga. You know, we might do it like maybe one standing pose or something, but I ask him, and it's only 30 minutes, how is it feeling? Is it benefiting? Yeah, I can move, I can twist, I can reach up in my cupboards easier, you know, because he has arthritis. So the movement helps release the pain and the inflammation. The flexibility then is going to help you lengthen. So you can think of everything is made up of energy. Everything is made up of molecules, of atoms, right? Like you can kind of go into like levels and levels. So if you're thinking about lengthening your muscles and your tissues, you can think of it in the same way of like lengthening your lifespan and shortening your lifespan, you know, like everything, just like I was talking a moment ago, stress is in the shoulders, emotions especially as women in particular, are held in the hips. And so a lot of women have a lot of hip tightness or lower back problems, or even hormonal imbalances is related to what we're holding emotionally in the body. And when we move physically with the body, it releases those emotions. So not only does it release the pain, the physical pain, it's releasing the emotional tension that we're holding on to. So this is why I can talk for forever about this topic, because it's so incredible.
It's super fascinating though. And, as you're talking, I'm thinking in my mind, this makes total sense. Yeah. Absolutely. I can totally relate to everything you're saying. I hope everyone who's watching can as well, because this is quality stuff, you guys. So speaking, benefits, right? And while you were talking about the 93-year-old, I was thinking, oh, great for that person. And it got me thinking, I don't know why, it got me thinking about gut health, maybe just the fact of twisting and moving. So I've heard that yoga has a positive impact on gut health, and that happens to be something that we are very, very passionate about here at New Earth. So are you able to educate us a little bit on how yoga positively impacts gut health?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with how your intestines work, basically it's tightening, loosening, tightening, loosening. Your colon is constantly doing that. Your intestines are always doing that, so to move things through, right? So if you are sitting a lot, or even just standing a lot, where you're just not moving, helping massage your muscles, your organs, then the food's going to move through the body a little slower. And so if we're talking about elimination, which a lot of Americans have a problem with that. And obviously, everything always comes with balance, right? Like what are you eating? What are you putting into your body, right? So that's part of the big picture and part of what you guys already do. However, what yoga does, if you think the ascending colon goes up on the right, over to the left, and then down the left, and then it moves out of the body. So twisting, then when we twist to the right first, basically what it's doing, it's helping do that motion, right? That flexion that's happening, the squeezing, it's helping break that up and bring it up. And then when we come back to center and we twist to the left, then it helps move out of the body. So if I have a class where I teach a lot of twists, guaranteed I'll have students go to the bathroom. Not every time, but especially if it's an intensive class for detoxification, where we do a lot of twists and forward folds, because we're not only are we twisting to help move the colon and move everything out of the body, but we're also twisting that helps, but basically just kind of helps everything move in the way it needs to move without going in too many details about that. So twisting is really, really beneficial. And then forward folds. So there's forward folds that you can do that, you can have a knee up, and then you're putting a little bit of pressure and what's the word? Compression, there's the word, forward into that. That's going to help kind of stimulate and massage that, so that you're moving forward into that, or you're twisting toward it. And so it's just these specific movements help with basically moving elimination through. There are breathing practices. We think of breathing just inhale and exhale through your nose kind of thing. Or if you're running, it's through your mouth maybe, or something, or working out or something. But there's different ways of moving your breath in different parts of your body. So you can even breathe into your belly, and then that relaxes your diaphragm. That relaxes and actually stimulates your vagus nerve, which then moves into, so it's just kind of all this, it's like this ripple effect that moves into the body. So then we're not just up here like we were talking about earlier, we're moving into the stomach and relaxing our organs, so that our organs aren't in this fight or flight mode constantly, but they're oh, okay, I can relax for a moment, and now I can start doing my job without being in stress. So, yeah.
I'm glad that you, the twisting, that makes complete sense. The massage, the movement. Yeah. So people can do that on a daily basis, right? They're having do some twisting, some forward folds.
Yeah. If I've been sitting at my desk for a while, because I do computer work too, I'll just grab the back of my chair and just kind of take a little twist, and then the other side. And usually for me, I'll kind of have a few little pops, my spine, oh, okay, good. Now I can keep on going, because it kind of releases that kind of tension. Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you brought stress up as well, because we've done a whole series on stress and gut health, and it has a tremendous impact on how it's going. So I'm glad you brought that up again, because that was when I asked you the question, I was thinking movement, but yeah, stress is a huge, huge factor there. Wonderful. Okay, so you've mentioned this a few times. A lot of us are sitting, we're at a computer, we're dealing with high levels of stress. So stress has been a factor to a focus today, but for important reasons. So how can we incorporate different yoga poses throughout the day to add a little movement and ease the stress? Because, you know, you get off a phone call that maybe didn't go as well as you wanted, and you're like, ugh, or a deadline or whatever. How can we kind of take it from here and bring it back down to here as we move through our day?
Totally. It's a great question. So there's something that I've learned recently, actually, and you know, I'm in training for Ayurveda, and it's called bookending. And this is something I already did before, but I didn't realize there's like a term for it. So now there's a term called bookending. At least this is what my teacher calls it too. Where if you know you're going to be in a stressful situation, you start it with, and like you can't get out of it, you know, like you have to go to this meeting, that there's someone that just really bothers you, or maybe puts you down, or you know, just maybe creates a lot of anger or heat or whatever, right? You know, it's not going to be a very positive environment, even if it's maybe going to your in-laws, you know, or whatever, you know. So you start it maybe with something that's positive, and then you also, when that not super happy event is happening, you end it with something that's positive. So for me, for something that would be really simple, breath work is, I actually say breath work is the key to yoga. So breath work is actually more important than the poses and the postures, or perfecting the poses and the postures. Because if we're holding the breath while we're doing a pose, the pose, the full effects of the pose aren't going to happen. Because, I mean, if you think about, like, if you get a knee injury, energy kind of gets stuck in your knee and can't flow all the way down to the leg. So a lot of times people will actually get like, what's the word, when you get like water retention, you know, or different things start to happen because your body isn't flowing fluidly because there's a blockage in your knee. So same thing happens in just other ways in our life. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if you like are about to walk into an office and maybe you're sitting in your car, you can take a few twists, right? So twists are always going to help release any tension that the spine's feeling stuck in. But then back bends are going to be great for if you feel sad, if you feel depressed, if you feel just gloomy or just like blah, like I just don't have the energy. I just don't feel like doing this. I don't know why, you know. So whatever spectrum that is, back bends and any just heart opening is going to help just kind of break that open. So a lot of times I can just, you know, if I turn my chair, I can grab the chair and just kind of pull and just kind of stretch myself forward. And that just all those pectoral muscles that have been kind of covering myself, protecting myself, now are like, oh, I feel better. And actually, you know, I mean, there's studies where you can like put your hands here, and if you hold it for 2 minutes, the Superman effect or something, right? You hold it for 2 minutes and you actually do release endorphins in the body and you actually do feel better. And that's because your heart is opening up. And so I would say if you're going to a place where you feel nervous or scared, heart opening poses, or if you're feeling sad or that sort of thing. If you're going to, or if you leave a place where you're just like on fire and you're just so upset about something, then twist you can think of as cooling and calming. So you could just do the twist with the breath, right? So you breathe in, and then when you twist, you're breathing out, imagining like the air or the anger or whatever is moving out of your body, right? So, and you kind of do that a few times until you feel calm. And forward folds, right? It's just putting your head down by your legs or by your knees, or if you can straighten your legs out. They don't have to be straight all the way. You know, a bend is great. But then, you know, if you have your legs up, you just kind of relax, and just that this movement relaxes our parasympathetic or sympathetic system. So that way our body and our system can be like, oh, I'm safe, right? And then that anger kind of softens down. So that kind of like a few good, depending on what you're going through, would be kind of good things to add into your day, because we all experience, I mean, with your kids, you might have a moment in the car when you pick them up and you're like, right? Breathe, like 3 big deep breaths, right? Or, just life moments happen. And so it's just those reminders, like the 3 deep breaths are like the best, I think, to practice.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
You just made me think of I just picked my toddler up from daycare a little bit earlier today, and man, trying to get that kid in the car seat sometimes is like, are you kidding me? I'm leaving you here. Okay, so back to breath work again. I love it. Breath work, some twisting, some forward folds, all depending on the mood. A little Superman maybe. I love it. So there's plenty of options there, and all super easy things we can do right from our chair, which is wonderful. So one more question for you, because I don't know if everyone else is feeling like me. I feel like I need to like hop off this call and like maybe go do a yoga flow or something like that. But maybe there's some new people who are like, hey, this sounds kind of cool. It sounds more than what I thought it was. It's tough holding the poses. It's a great workout, but there's also these other benefits that come with it. So for someone who's thinking about getting started with yoga, one of those newbies, what would you recommend? How would you recommend they get started, and how much time would they need to allocate in a week, we'll say, to experience the benefits?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, don't judge it by the first class you take, because one, you're going to mesh with the teacher or you're not. And so there's so many different varieties of yoga, so many different styles of classes. And, and even the seasons of life that you're in might change, like when I went through a really hard time in my life, I was taking really, really gentle classes, and like the 70-year-old ladies were doing more than I was, right? Point is, like, that was a season of my life where I just needed to slow down and really take more gentle classes. So that would be really key. Where are you now in your life? Are you doing a lot of things? Are you already in CrossFit, and are you like traveling your kids around to games? Are you, going to your clients all day long and walking all day long? Do you need more of a grounding class or more of a seated class? Even if you think you want a workout, maybe emotionally you're going to actually get more benefit even into the physical level if you take a slower class. So there's not really like a one set answer, like start with this exact class. It's more about where are you? What are you hoping to gain out of it? How does your day look like that will bring you back into a place of balance? And what will bring you joy? If you come to a yoga class and you feel like, I should be doing this, like I'm so tight. Okay, well, let's find a class that is going to make you actually love going to it and feel restored after it, even if you did have a hard workout yoga class, right? Or if you're going to what's called a restorative class where you're holding poses 3 to 5 minutes, then that's amazing for your deep tissues and for releasing like major tension or migraines even, and headaches and that kind of stuff. So that's going to vary, okay? There are classes online you can take. We teach classes as well. And so after I teach my class here with you guys, I'll share a little bit about our classes. But going to a local place, once things open up, depending on where you live, then you'll be able to kind of fine-tune a little bit about the type of teachers that you resonate with and the type of classes that you resonate with. So I always say try at least 3 to 5 classes, okay? And then once you kind of found a teacher that you're like, oh, I really like this class, make space for that class. Ideally, for you to really, really see benefit, you want to be taking class 3 to 5 times a week. That's not always, yoga, ancient yogis would say every day, right? Like you do it every day, even if it's 5 minutes a day, okay? Meaning like, I'm going to sit here for maybe a minute and take 5 or a few slow, deep breaths, right? And then maybe I'm going to do some twists and some back bends and some forward folds, and then take a few more breaths. And then that's my yoga for the day. So don't feel like it has to be a yoga class. Your yoga practice is more than just this down dog, up dog, cobra pose, triangle, warrior, it doesn't have to be those things. So ideally 3 to 5 times a day though, if you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this, I want to feel the benefits, I've heard there's good benefits, you're going to see the most change at least 3 times a week, ideally 5 times a week.
Awesome. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you brought up, because when you first said 3 to 5 times a week, I was just thinking for myself, like, well,
No way.
I like to do a whole bunch of different workouts, and how would I fit that in? But then, bringing up, hey, that could be like a 5-minute break. And we've heard so much about movement throughout the day. You can take that as, hey, I just need a little pause from work. I'll do my yoga flow and keep on with the day. So that's fantastic. I feel like I need to incorporate that now. So I have a whole lot to do after this meeting. It'd be really good.
Well, but what's great is you simplify. You release the things in life that aren't supporting you, and then you add this in slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. So, okay, so just a quick recap. We talked with Amy Chadwick right before you hopped on, Jill. We talked all about hydration. Jill came on. We talked about yoga. Boy, the two go hand in hand. And both benefit tremendously in a day's time. And now what we're going to do, we're going to transition into a practice. So Jill actually has come up with a newer inspired yoga flow. I'm super excited because I'm ready to do some yoga right now. I hope you guys are. I hope you have your yoga mats ready. So Jill, is it about 20 minutes or so?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's got about a 20-minute flow, and then she let me know at the end she's got a special offer. So make sure you go through the whole flow. She's got something really awesome for you at the end. And then Jill, I'll catch up with you offline after the flow. I'm going to go get changed and get ready, and we'll take just a kind of a short break so Jill can get her area set up, and then we'll go right into the flow. Does that sound good?
I hope so. I'm excited. I'll see you on the mat.
Awesome. Thanks, Jill.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, welcome back. So let's get started today. Whether you have this amazing yoga studio space or most of us maybe just have a smaller space at home, go ahead and make sure your space around you is clear. If you have a chair close by, that would be really helpful. If not, maybe a wall space close by, that would be great too. Okay, not necessary, so don't feel like you can't do it if you don't have those things, but just a few little things that we can use today for our practice. So go ahead, come onto your mat. We're going to start today seated. So go ahead, sit down. This pose can be challenging for some of us, so make sure you are comfortable. You can grab a pillow if you have one close by, or even just sitting on like a book is sometimes helpful, just to elevate your hips. Because if your knees are up here and you're pretty tight, having just a little bit of downward slope is going to help ease any kind of tension that you're holding in your hips. Okay. If you have knee injuries, you can just sit with your legs straight in front of you. Okay. Or if you have one knee injury, maybe one leg out. That's fine. Modify your body to how you need it to be. So our practice today isn't a, push until you feel the burn or, sweat until your heart, I don't know, like it's not about that. It's about listening to your body. And just because someone else might be able to do XYZ pose doesn't mean that you have to do it in their same way. So there's a lot of different modifications that I'll be offering today in our class. Do what feels best for you today and rest when you need to rest. So like I said earlier, just because we're doing this 20-minute practice today doesn't mean you have to do every single thing I am guiding you into. You might take a skip for a moment if you have a knee injury, or if you do have arthritis, or if you're just having a really rough day and you're just feeling low energy. Okay. So paying attention to all those pieces in your own body will really help guide your practice. So that way you're not pushing yourself past the edge or your edge and then moving into injury. Okay. So with that being said, close your eyes for a moment. Take a big inhalation through your nose and exhale it out your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale through your nose. Can you breathe a little deeper this time? And then exhale it out your mouth. All right, one more. Inhale, even bigger. All the way up. Fill your belly up, fill your chest up. Can you breathe into your back even? Hold this time at the top of your inhalation just for about 5, 4, 3, 2. And now as you exhale, exhale with sound. Ha. And maybe you laugh a little bit because we don't do that very often. Keep your eyes closed for a moment. Notice how your physical body feels. You need to adjust your weight a little bit, side to side, or shift a foot. How does it feel to close your eyes, to breathe a little slower, to breathe a little deeper? Can you imagine each inhalation, your sit bones press into the ground a little bit more? And when you do that, maybe your spine just finds a little bit more space between each vertebra. Maybe you find a little bit more lightness with each inhalation. And now as you exhale, keep that same inhalation, grounding through your sit bones, creating some space into the body. And then with each exhalation, I want you to relax your shoulders. With each exhalation, can you relax any tension in your face, especially between the eyebrows, your jaw, behind your eyelids? And I want you to bring one hand to your belly without judgment, without thinking about anything other than breathing into this hand. So when you inhale, feel your belly kind of press into that hand. And when you exhale, feel the belly contract in toward the body. So breathing in, the belly moves outward. Breathing out, the belly moves inward. So inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just one more round like that. Inhale, belly expands. And exhale, belly draws in. Good. Now bring your palms together. Rest your thumbs over your heart center. So just a little bit lower than the top of your chest. Now bring your chin down to the chest. And I want you to take a moment to set an intention for this practice. This intention might be a word. Maybe if you've had just a really stressful day, maybe it's peace. Or maybe if you've been sad, maybe it's joy. Maybe it's a prayer. Maybe it's a mantra. There's really no right or wrong here. The intention is simply for what do you want to cultivate in these next few minutes. And if there's something that's not calling to you, then your intention is simply your breath. Just focusing on your breath. Go ahead. Let's take one more inhale through your nose. Like you're breathing in that intention. And then exhale it out your mouth. And open your eyes and bring your hands to your knees. Take an inhale, pull the chest forward, tuck the elbows back. And as you exhale, round your back, chin to your chest. Do it again. Inhale, rock forward, lift your chin, open your heart. Exhale, round your back, scoop in the belly. Inhale again, rock forward, softening the throat. Exhale, round the spine, scoop in. And now inhale, arms stretch straight up to the sky. Twist over to the right as you lower your hands on your exhale. So left hand can hold onto your right knee and the right fingertips behind you. Go ahead and breathe in, lengthen up again. Feel those sit bones push down, feel your spine lift up. And then stay in the twist as you exhale, but see if you can move in a little bit deeper without going and pushing yourself too far, too fast. Breathing in to lengthen up. And breathe out to deepen. Go ahead and unwind, lift your arms straight up, inhale. Now let's go ahead and twist opposite side, lower the hands as you exhale. Again, stay in the twist, create a little length as you breathe in, and a little deeper twist as you breathe out. Just paying attention to how your body's moving today, what feels stuck, what feels like there's movement happening, where it feels like energy is flowing. Go ahead and take an inhale, lift their arms back up as you unwind. And now lower your right hand by your right as you exhale and tip over with that left arm. You can look down here. So what's so important is pay attention to how your neck feels. Maybe close your eyes for a moment. Be silly, open your mouth, move your jaw around a little bit. Where are you holding tension in the neck and the shoulders? If it feels good, maybe turn your chin toward that left arm. And now root down through that left sit bone. Yeah, take an inhale. Let's lift all the way up, both arms up. Let's do the opposite side. Exhale it over. Start by looking down first. Use those exhales to release that tension. Ground into the right sit bone and then lift up through that right rib cage. Still look down, or if it feels okay on your neck today, go ahead and turn your gaze up toward the sky. Awesome. Inhale, both arms lift you up. And then just bring your hands to your heart, exhaling. Take a full breath in here, just paying attention to what's moving in your body. Exhaling out your mouth. Good. Let's come forward into a tabletop pose. So palms under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. We're just going to move it a little bit more here. I want you to tuck your toes under to start. You're going to do those same sort of cat-cow. So you're going to arch the back, look up as you inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to round your back, really pushing into the feet so you really wake up those toes. Inhale, look up, soften the belly, relax the throat. Exhale, round the spine, push into the mat. One more like that. Inhale it up. And exhale to round. Awesome. You're going to bring your hands about a palm distance in front of you. Go ahead and lift your knees and your hips up into a downward facing dog. And now here, just take a few moments to pedal out your legs, right? Maybe bend one knee at a time and press the opposite heel down. And if it feels good, maybe you lift one foot up for a moment, rotate your toes, your ankle, and move your toes around. And do that on both sides. Just intuitively listening to how your body's feeling here. Noticing your joints, your hips, let them sway a little side to side as you pedal out the legs. Good. Now let's walk the feet up to the top of your mat toward the hands. Maybe if your wrists are feeling a little tired from that, if you're not used to being in down dog, you can shake your wrists out for a moment. And then take an inhale as you slide the hands up the legs into a flat back, lifting the heart forward, shoulders back. On your exhale, fold back down and bend your knees a little bit here so we're not straining the lower back. It doesn't matter how far down you're going. And even if you have a water bottle close by, you can even hold on to your water bottles and lift the floor up to you. Let's do that again. Flat back, inhale, and fold forward, exhale. Go ahead and come all the way up to mountain pose, hands to the sky. And exhale, hands then over your heart. So we're going to do some sun salutations and warm up the body a little bit more. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale and fold forward. Go ahead and step your right foot back. Take an inhale here. Just look up, lift on your fingertips. Step all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into a plank. You're welcome to lower your knees here to start, and then exhale all the way down to the belly. Take a gentle back bend as you lift your chest, press to the tops of the feet, and then exhale, lower back down. Press back up, plank, inhale, and down dog, exhale. Take a full breath in through the nose. Breathe it out, whatever tension, whatever feels stuck, whatever feels tight. Now lift your right leg up to the sky. Press down through the left heel. Maybe give it a little bit more rotation through the right ankle. Wiggle your toes. Look up between your hands. Take an inhale. And then step the right foot between your hands. If the foot doesn't make its way there, you can lower the back knee, grab your right ankle, and bring your foot up with you. All right, take an inhale here. Look up. Go ahead and exhale. Step the left foot forward. All the way up, mountain pose. Inhale. And hands to your heart. Exhale. Do that on the other side. Inhale it up. And exhale, fold forward. Left foot steps back. Inhale, look up. And a downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Doesn't have to be a big lift, just a little bit. Lower back down. Exhale. Press up to your plank. Breathe in. Your down dog. Breathing out. Left leg lifts up. Inhale. Stay right there as the right heel pushes toward the mat. Doesn't mean it's touching. Just reach it down. Rotate the left ankle. Wiggle those toes around. Maybe even shake the leg out if things are just kind of feeling a little stuck today. But look forward with your next inhale. And now step the left foot up. Guide it through if you need to. And now breathe in here. Look up. Step the left foot or right foot forward as you breathe out. Rise up, mountain pose. Inhale. And hands to your heart. Exhale. Let's do that one more time, a little bit more into it. Lift on up. Exhale, fold forward. Right foot back. Inhale. Down dog. Exhale. Plank, breathing in. Lower, breathe out. Cobra, or maybe upward dog, so your thighs and your knees are off the mat. And down dog. Exhale. Right leg up. Inhale. Step the foot forward. Exhale. Stay down. Just lift on your fingertips. Breathe in. All the way forward as you breathe out. Mountain pose. Inhale. And hands to your heart. Exhale. Other side. Inhale. Take it up. Exhale. Fold forward. Left foot back. Inhale up. Right foot back, exhale. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower. Cobra or up dog, breathe in. And then downward dog, breathing out. Left leg up, inhale. Step forward. If you need to, grab your ankle, bring it up. Inhale. And now step all the way forward. Exhale. Mountain pose, breathing in. And your hands to your heart as you breathe out. Stay right here. Inhale. Exhale out your mouth. Good. Lift your arms up to the sky. Catch your right wrist and now tip over to the left. And I want you to shift your weight into that left foot a little bit. So if you need to, spread your toes out. Ground nice and firmly through that foot. And if it feels okay, can you cross the right ankle over the left? And now can you lean a little bit farther over to the left as well? Looking down is always going to help with your balance. Staying in and out of your nose, breathing nice and slowly. Awesome. Go ahead and come all the way back up. Bring your hands to your heart. You keep your ankle crossed here. Okay. And then you're either going to just slide your ankle inside the inner ankle. So sole of the right foot to your inner ankle, or you can bring it up to your calf. Okay. Or you can try bringing it all the way up to your inner thigh. So just try to avoid putting any pressure on your knee. Okay. If you have any kind of instabilities, you're welcome just to hold on to your chair, right? If you had that close by. Good. Now, can you come back to that breath? Inhale through the nose for about 5 counts. Exhale through the nose for 5 counts. Inhale. Exhale. So even if you're losing your balance here, don't rush back in if you lose your balance. Take your time. One more round. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Lower that foot down. Shake it all out. Shake especially that left foot out. Okay. Go ahead and take your arms up. Inhale. Go ahead and catch your left wrist and tip over to your right. Now this time, left ankle crosses over. So if your balance is feeling a little tricky today, a little off, because each side will feel different and each day will feel different, you're welcome to leave both feet planted on the floor. Good. Look down if you need a little bit more support with your balance. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, try looking up. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through the nose. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Go ahead and lift yourself back up. Keep your ankle crossed, palms together over your heart. So find one spot to focus on that's in front of you. It could be on the floor, right? Maybe it's a speck of something on the floor. And now uncross your ankle, bring your sole of your foot to your inner ankle. Maybe slide it up to your calf. Maybe bring it up to your inner thigh. You can use your hand to guide it up. So wherever you are on this side, take those slow inhalations through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And if you're feeling really wobbly, to let your toes just barely touch the mat. So that way, a lot of times if we're trying to push too hard, we hold the breath. Or we breathe really shallow because we're trying to do something with our feet or trying to do something with the pose. So get out of trying to do and take a moment to slow your breath down. Even if the pose isn't something that you imagine it should be. Good. Lower your foot, shake it out, especially that right foot. Awesome. Go ahead and lift your arms all the way up for a nice big inhale. And then fold your way forward with your exhale. You're going to step your right foot back and then walk the hands over to the right. So this is a wide-legged fold. And if you're tighter here, this is where maybe a water bottle would be really helpful to hold on to a water bottle. That way you're not rounding your back. So you don't want to be like here. If you have a bottle, then you can lengthen your spine a lot better than rounding yourself up. So take a few breaths. Maybe you shift your weight a little bit side to side. Good. And then bring your hands to your hips. Come up halfway with your inhale, and then come up all the way with your exhale. Turn your left toes forward, bend the knee. So your knee is right over your heel and your big toe is pointing toward the front of your mat. Arms come out wide and look right over your left fingertips. Take an inhale. So sink a little bit lower into your hips as you exhale. And if your knee starts to move past your heel, scoot that right foot back farther. Give yourself more room to move into your own body. Take a breath in. Relax your shoulders. Breathe out. Now turn the left palm up. Reach forward as you inhale. Reverse warrior. So right hand rests on your back thigh or your back leg. Left arm lifts you up and back. Go ahead. Take another inhale. And then windmill your hands to the front of your mat. Pivot your back heel up. Lower your knee down. Good. Now lift your arms up for a low lunge. From here, left hand to your left hip and begin to twist over to your left. So maybe the left hand slides more towards your sacrum. Can you press your hips forward and then begin to lean back through the right hand? Maybe lift up through your chest. Take a one big inhale Go ahead and come forward as you exhale. Right hand by your foot, left hand now up to the sky for a twist. Look up toward the left fingertips. Maybe stretch that left arm up over your head. If you want a little more challenge, you're welcome to lift that your right knee off of the mat. Take an inhale and then unwind, palm to the mat as you exhale. Go ahead and step your way forward. Inhale for a flat back and exhale to fold down. Rise up, mountain pose, breathing in. Hips forward, tailbone lengthens down, and hands to your heart as you breathe out. All right, inhale, take it on up. And then exhale, go ahead and fold forward. Step your left foot on back. Walk the hands to your left, wide-legged fold here. Turn your toes in a little bit, your heels out. And then either just keep your hands on the mat. You can grab your ankles or go ahead and interlace your fingers behind you. I'll turn around here so you can see me a little bit better. So toes in, heels out, hands interlaced behind your back. If you can find this class, great. If not, bend your elbows and just grab your wrists. Okay, so go ahead and take a few breaths here in this nice big wide-legged fold. Release your crown of your head toward the earth. Maybe move around your jaw, releasing any tension in your face. Awesome. Bring your hands then to your hips. Come up halfway again as you inhale, and then all the way up on your exhale. Point your right toes forward, bend the knee over your heel, and then open your arms forward and back. I'm facing backwards here since I had to turn around, but go ahead. You should be facing the front of your mat. Look over those right fingertips. Yeah. Soften your shoulders down. Breathe in. Sit a little bit more into your body. Breathe out. Good. Can you ground a little bit more into the outer edge of that left foot? Turn the right palm up. Reach forward as you inhale. And now reverse your warrior. Right hand toward the sky. Slide down the back leg. And then sink a little bit more into the hips. Awesome. Wiggle your hands to the front of your mat to the right foot. Lower the back knee down. And now lift your arms back up. Good. Right hand to the hip. Begin to twist over to the right, sliding your hand toward your sacrum. And now use that right hand to help press your hips forward and tip back through your left hand. It doesn't mean it's a lot. Like this pose here, you can move half an inch and feel a lot. So be kind with yourself, be patient, and breathe. Good. Go ahead and shift your weight forward. Left palm to the mat, right hand up to the sky for that twist. If you'd like, keep the left knee down or go ahead and lift it back up. And maybe if you want, you can stretch that right arm up over your head. Take another full breath in. Go ahead and unwind as you breathe out. We'll step the left foot up to meet the right foot. Go ahead and sit down. Bring your feet straight out in front of you. Move your flesh out from underneath so you can kind of tip forward a little easier. Now lift your arms up to the sky as you breathe in and fold forward on your breath out. Grab wherever you can reach. Doesn't mean it's your feet. Maybe it's your thighs, maybe it's your calves or ankles. Take an inhale. Fold a little bit more as you move your heart forward and actually rotate your shoulders back. Take 2 more. And 1 more breath in. Breathing all of it out. Deepen into it, and then go ahead and come back up. Great. Go ahead and right knee bends toward the front of your mat, and then swing your left leg back. Go ahead and lift your hips up just enough so that way your hips are squared. You're going to stay here, okay, or go ahead and lower down onto your forearms, taking just about 5 breaths. Relax your belly. It's easy here for us to bring all of our weight onto the right hip because it's kind of like the path of least resistance. So can you lift your hips so that way they're pointing straight toward the mat? And then relax your belly again. Let your body get heavy. It knows where to stop. It knows what you can do. So trust that you can do it. Good. Go ahead and lift your weight back up. Shift sides. Left foot comes forward, right leg back. Good. Go ahead and shift your weight back up. Swing the right foot forward. Now here it comes in helpful if you have a chair or if you just have a wall or maybe a window. Okay, so I'm going to do a chair first. So if you have that, go ahead and bring it up to you. And we're just going to do what's called legs up the wall, right? So sometimes we don't have room for a wall, but we always, most of us have a chair at least. So you're going to bring the chair up to you, and then you're going to scoot yourself. So that way you're right up against the edge of your chair. If let's pretend this is a wall, just to make things simpler in our class today. So if you have a wall, then you're going to bring yourself sideways to the wall. So my shoulders up against the wall. When I'm ready, I'm going to lie down, swing my feet up on the chair, and lie down onto the back. If this were the wall, my feet would be straight up and the wall would be back up against the back of my legs, okay? So you're just going to lie down, adjust yourself. If you don't have a mat, so you might grab a blanket for your head or for your shoulders or for your spine, so that way you have a little bit more cushion. And I want you to bring one hand to your belly and one hand over your heart. Go ahead and close your eyes. Please take a nice big inhalation through your nose. Feel your belly press into your hands. And then exhale it out your mouth. And do that again. Inhale through your nose, belly first. And now can you lift your chest, still with that same inhalation. And then exhale opposite direction, relax your chest. And now contract the belly in. Do that again. Inhale belly. So we're kind of moving like a wave. And now keep inhaling all the way up through your chest. Keep inhaling and pushing down into the mat. Feel your back expand. Now hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale chest and all the way down to the belly. Let's do that again. Inhale belly, all the way to the chest and the back body and your side body, the side rib cage. Now hold for 5. See if you can relax as you're holding. Relax your shoulders. Still keep that expansion in the body. And now exhale from the top of the lungs down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale through the belly, the chest, the back, the side, and now hold. And exhale it out. Now stay here for the next few moments. If you have a little extra time today, I encourage you to press pause for a few moments and just stay here even longer. Otherwise, we'll be here for just a couple more minutes. This pose is really amazing to stay if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling restless legs, if you're feeling tired during the day and you need to wake up, but also if you're not able to sleep at night, this is a great one to do. So you're welcome to stay an extra 5 to 10 minutes. And when you're ready, let's start to move your fingers around some, move your toes. And you're just gonna roll over onto your side, like the fetal position. Maybe rest your head on your arm. Pause for a moment here before you come up, just to allow all that blood flow to move back into the legs. And then let's slowly go ahead and sit your way back up. Take your time, just a comfortable seated position. Once you arrive, close your eyes. Notice how you feel, maybe a shift or change from the beginning of our practice until now. Bring your palms together, rest your thumbs over your heart. Take an inhale one more time through your nose. And exhale it out your mouth. Bring your chin down to your chest as you honor this practice today. Honor your intention. Honor all that you felt, all that you experienced physically, emotionally, mentally. And may you step forward through the rest of your day, the rest of this week, with maybe a little more presence, a little more light, a little more kindness towards yourself and towards others. The truth, the light, the love within me honors that same place within each one of you. Thank you so much for practicing today, for moving, and for choosing to listen to yourself. Namaste. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. This is my Dharma, this is my life purpose, and I would be honored to support you in any way I can. We offer our studio, Asana Yoga and Soul, offers an online practice. And if you head over to asanaonline.life, you can select a monthly membership where you can get unlimited access to hundreds of classes, whether you want to watch live stream classes that I teach, or whether you want to watch any classes that we have already in our library for a whole month for free. So we're offering a free month membership to our online class. And you can use the code New Earth Yoga, all lowercase, one word. And when you check out and you select that month membership, when you check out, it will automatically apply 100% off. So I hope to see you on there. And if you need to reach out to me, you can, my contact info is on our website, asanayoga.net, or also my personal site is essentialyoginis.com. So I will see you next time, and hope you had a wonderful time and learned a little bit, and may you incorporate some of these things in your own life to find a little bit more ease and a little bit more balance. Thank you so much.